Right. Here's the thing that no one wants to say out loud. La Rochelle's elimination isn't a shock. It's an inevitable consequence of European rugby's new world order. The back-to-back champions just got found out by a Harlequin side that had the audacity to play rugby while the French giants were still trying to win through sheer brute force. The aristocracy is crumbling, and frankly, it's about bloody time.
Welcome to Rugby Rundown. I'm Gavlar, and that was my co-host Adrian, delivering what might be the most controversial take of the Champions Cup pool stages. Good morning, rugby fans. If you thought this tournament was going to follow the script, well, you clearly haven't been paying attention to the statistical carnage we've just witnessed.
Statistical carnage. I love that, mate. But here's what the numbers won't tell you about what we've just seen unfold.
4 rounds of pool rugby have completely shredded the established European order. Union Bordeaux-Bègles sit atop the standings with a plus 94 points difference. That's not a typo. Glasgow Warriors have achieved the perfect 20 points maximum. Meanwhile, La Rochelle are packing their bags, and Munster's sacred fortress at Thomond Park has been breached for the first time by Castres in 9 attempts.
Exactly right. And here's where your beloved statistics miss the story, Gavlar. What we're witnessing isn't just results going against form, it's the death of slow ball dominance. The game has moved beyond these lumbering powerhouses who think they can maul their way to European glory.
Now hold on, that's quite a leap. Let's examine this properly. You're suggesting that the tactical meta has fundamentally shifted, but the data shows...
The data shows that teams averaging over 40 points per game are dominating. Bristol scored 61 points at altitude in Pretoria. That's supposed to be impossible according to conventional wisdom. UBB are putting 40-plus on everyone they face. These aren't anomalies, they're the new blueprint.
Bristol's performance was remarkable, I'll grant you that. But let's be analytical here. What specific tactical elements are driving this shift you're claiming?
Speed of ball presentation, mate. Look at what Glasgow did to Saracens. 28-3. They kept their ruck speed under 3 seconds consistently. Saracens couldn't set their defensive line, couldn't launch their trademark Wolfpack pressure. Franco Smith has built a machine that exposes the limitations of power-based rugby when you can't slow the game down.
That's actually supported by the disciplinary statistics. Saracens conceded 19 penalties in that match, a catastrophic figure for a team renowned for discipline. The pressure forced the infractions.
Exactly. And that's the psychology that stats can't measure. When you're chasing shadows for 80 minutes, when the ball's constantly moving away from contact before you can disrupt, your discipline breaks down. Your fundamentals crumble. That's what happened to La Rochelle's scrum. Their primary weapon just disintegrated under constant phase pressure.
But let's examine Glasgow's success more objectively. This wasn't just about pace. They've achieved perfect pool execution. 20 points, number 2 seeding, home advantage secured through the quarterfinals potentially. Franco Smith has built systematic excellence.
Right? And that's what separates this from previous Scottish false dawns. This isn't just beautiful rugby that falls apart under pressure. This is a team that's learned to be ruthlessly clinical. When they got Saracens in that chokehold, they didn't let up. They went for the throat.
The Scottstown factor cannot be underestimated either. Home advantage is worth approximately 6 points per game statistically, but on that artificial surface, with their pacey game, it becomes exponentially more valuable. They're using environmental advantages strategically.
And that brings us to the bigger picture for the Six Nations. Steve Borthwick needs to be watching this closely. English clubs are thriving with high-tempo systems. Harlequins knocked out the back-to-back champions. Bath are flying. But England, the national team, are still playing like it's 2019.
The Henry Pollock case study is fascinating. Here's a player delivering explosive performances for Northampton, offering exactly the link play dynamism England lacks, yet he was nearly lost to Scotland. That's systematic failure at selection level.
Pollock's emergence is massive for England. He's got the speed of a back with the work rate of a proper flanker. But here's the thing. Borthwick needs to fast-track him before someone else realizes what they're missing. The Champions Cup has shown that form trumps reputation every single time.
Meanwhile, Andy Farrell has a completely different problem. Ireland's fly-half succession battle has intensified dramatically. Harry Byrne kicked that match-winning penalty against La Rochelle under genuine knockout pressure, while Jack Crowley is struggling behind a beaten Munster pack.
That's the psychology of winning systems, isn't it? Byrne's steering the best team in Europe right now. His confidence is sky high. Crowley's firefighting behind a struggling pack. Farrell values winners above all else. The choice seems obvious to me.
But we cannot ignore Leinster's defensive vulnerabilities. Their rushing system showed cracks against teams that moved the ball quickly enough to bypass the blitz. That's directly relevant to Ireland's defensive structure.
True, and that feeds into the broader tactical lesson here. The rush defense that dominated for years is being found out by teams willing to play with width and pace. Bristol showed the blueprint. Trust your handling, move the ball quickly, make the heavy packs chase leather.
For Wales, Steve Tendy faces perhaps the greatest challenge. The regions performed poorly, but individual players like James Williams at Bristol showed they can compete at elite level. His selection philosophy appears to favor form over regional loyalty.
Williams is exactly what Wales need, a proper 12 with that Roy Keane edge Pat Lam talks about. He dominated the Bulls physically, showed he can handle elite pressure. Wales haven't had that since Jamie Roberts was in his prime.
Right. Let's move to our predictions for the round of 16. The seeding system creates fascinating tactical narratives. Your quickfire predictions, Adrian?
UBB steamroll Leicester by 20+. Their attacking system is unstoppable right now. Glasgow beat the Bulls comfortably. That travel tax is massive. Leinster demolish Edinburgh by 20. And here's the bold one. Bath upset Saracens at the Rochelle. Saracens look vulnerable after that Glasgow mauling.
I largely concur, though I'd be more conservative on margins. The data supports UBB's dominance, plus 94 points difference doesn't lie. Glasgow's home advantage on that artificial surface against jet-lagged Bulls is mathematically decisive. My upset pick, Harlequins edge Sale. Their European confidence should carry them through.
Agreed on Quins. They've got that swagger now. They knocked out the champions. Sale won't intimidate them. The bigger question is whether this new tactical meta survives the knockout intensity. Can teams maintain this pace when every mistake is elimination?
That's where the economy of home advantage becomes crucial. Teams like UBB and Leinster can control tempo in familiar surroundings. The South African franchises face 10,000-kilometer flights into hostile environments. The statistics are not in their favor.
Exactly. And that's what makes this pool stage so significant. It's not just about who's qualified, it's about who's earned home advantage. Glasgow securing that number 2 seed could be the difference between reaching a semi-final or falling at the quarterfinal stage.
The tournament resumes in 3 weeks' time. The round of 16 promises to deliver knockout drama, but make no mistake, the tactical lessons from these pool stages will define the Six Nations starting next month. For Rugby Rundown, I'm Gavlar.
And I'm Adrian. Remember, pace beats power, form beats reputation, and the aristocracy is dead. Keep following us for all the latest Champions Cup analysis, and don't forget to subscribe for our Six Nations preview coming next week. Until then, keep the rugby faith.